Does it matter how tall your child is? Every parent knows that some kids hit growth spurts later than others, but what does height or lack of it tell us about physical health? Our senior health and medical correspondent, Dr. Richard Besser, joins us now with more.
George, I wanted to look and see how height affects boys in particular, because it may be difficult for many of them socially if they aren't tall. Each kid grows at his own rate. Self-esteem, however, is something that parents can instill no matter what height their child has. I went to meet one dad who's doing just that with his teenage son.
Hey, Daniel.
It's great to have you.
At 5 feet tall, 13-year-old Daniel has always been around the bottom 10th percentile for height. Some call him short, but those aren't the words he would use. Who is Daniel Clark?
Determined, the opposite of shy, hardworking, charismatic. I may be short in appearance, but I'm not short in personality.
6 feet 8 inches tall Dan Clark Sr. was already 6 feet tall when he was his son's age.
You're always one of the tallest, or the tallest, and you're always one of the shortest.
The shortest.
The shortest.
His mother's only 5 feet tall, so it's uncertain how tall Daniel will ultimately be. But like any teen, he dreams tall dreams.
You like playing sports. Is there a height that you're shooting for?
You know, I'm 13. I'm shooting for 10 feet.
The sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you, we're both thinking that perhaps I'll get a growth spurt.
For boys, growth spurts occur around age 13, but may begin as early as 10 or as late as 16. On average, girls will have their greatest growth 2 years earlier than boys.
Did people pick on you, Daniel, at your old school because you were one of the smaller guys?
Yeah, of course they did.
Did they say things?
Yeah, sure. I had to learn from it. You know, I had to counteract them.
Some guy stole his sweater, some guy pushed him down.
Then, every parent's nightmare.
I got a call to go meet my son in Harlem Hospital.
Some guy pushes me, like wrestling with another guy, pushed me onto the stool and really hurt my head, and I got 6 stitches.
Daniel found his place in a new school that didn't tolerate bullying. He's now excelling in all areas.
You ready for this?
Contrary to popular belief, studies show that height is not related to success in life, and it does not have a lasting impact on self-esteem.
It's something that you have to work through if you're a short person. It tore me down a couple of times, and then I learned to build my way up.
You did? How did you learn to do that?
Well, mostly my father telling me that I have to be tough, and you know, because the world's it's gonna eat me up if I'm soft.
You seem to be extremely comfortable with who you are.
You only have one life and one person to live with, which is yourself.
You don't define yourself by your size.
Nah. No, size is not an issue.
What is it you think you want to do when you grow up?
First I want to go to Harvard, which is very, very hard college to get into. And then I want to write books, and then, you know, I want to become the mayor of the city of New York. When I become mayor, I'll probably be the shortest mayor, you know, in history.
So you've got real dreams. Yeah.
Big dreams.
Big dreams.
Daniel has no fear, and he is plenty tall enough to be mayor of New York City. Take a look at one of New York's finest, Fiorello LaGuardia. They called him the Little Flower, standing there with Eleanor Roosevelt. He was only 5'2". And with that, let's bring in Dr. Richard Besser here with some answers. Daniel has all the right attitude.
He does. You know, he does not let his height define him. I mean, did it ever define you?
You know, this is going to sound so immodest, but I was a lot like Daniel. I mean, I processed being short as kind of smart and scrappy. And I was wondering, what's wrong with all you tall guys, you know?
Right.
But what can parents do to help children just naturally develop this self-esteem?
Yeah, you know, I think that there are a couple things. One is making them comfortable in who they are, looking to each child to see what are their strengths, what is it that they excel at, what is it that they get excited about, and helping them define themselves through their qualities, their characteristics. It is important, though, that parents look at height as just another one of the factors in growth and make sure that it's going normally.
Right. So what are the signs that there might be a bigger problem?
Well, there are a few things that parents can look for. An easy one to think about, between the ages of 5 and 10, the child should grow on average about 2 inches per year, and that's something you can track. If your child is losing weight as they're growing, that's not a good thing to be happening. And if they have other signs with their height, so if you have a cough, if you're having infections, that could point to a medical problem. But every child will grow differently, and regular visits to your doctor, they can track you on your growth curve and see, is it normal for who you are?
There's also a huge debate over when to treat this, the whole controversy over human growth hormone. What's your advice on that?
Well, there are conditions for which growth hormone is recommended, in particular if you're growth hormone deficient, if you have certain syndromes that are associated with low growth hormone. The drug is approved, though, for those children who are in the lowest 1% of height. I'm not a big fan of turning to that right away. If you are treated with growth hormone, you can expect at most to gain about 2 inches. It may involve daily shots for many, many years, and it doesn't deal with that issue of making a child comfortable with who they are. If your child's not growing, they should be checked medically to make sure they don't have a condition that's causing that problem. But if they don't, I really like to focus, way ahead of everything else on how do you make them comfortable and successful in life.
A lesson that Daniel certainly has learned already. Richard Besser, thanks very much. There's a lot more information about this on our website at abcnews.com.